Now we're going to go to what I wanted to talk about today, which is run from spiritual practice. Run! Run away! Run! Run for your life! Run for your life! Spiritual practice is not safe for the individual. Not safe for the individual, you better run away. Please run away. So last week we did the trichotomy on the mean girl. And if remember, it was queen bee, competitive, vain, power hungry, controlling, unkind, envied. Opposite was comfortable in own skin, self-contained, team player, willing to serve. The positive was ambitious, assertive, leader, looked up to, role model. And the negative of comfortable in own skin, self-contained team player, willing to serve was peon, doormat, barnacle, timid, follower, nobody, inconsequential. So I wanted to make that clear that for the mean individual, the powerful individual, the wannabe powerful individual, love is humiliation to the human race. That's what they believe. They use sentimentality and niceness as if those things were love. And this isn't anything new. If we go back to transactional analysis from a long time ago, there was the story, the myth of the warm fuzzies and the cold pricklies. And the witch built warm fuzzies, cold pricklies disguised as warm fuzzies, and sold them to everybody. And she did that by convincing everybody that there were just so many warm fuzzies. There's an end. There's a supply end. The mean individual, the powerful individual, and the wannabe powerful individual believe they are belittling themselves if they are kind to others. And again, by kind, I mean authentically kind, not superficially being nice, polite. And this kind of situation with this kind of a person means that partners, friends, all people that are in contact with the mean individual, the powerful individual, or the wannabe powerful individual have to avoid and tread carefully. They tiptoe around the mean individual, the powerful individual, and the wannabe powerful individual. They put up with and believe they are taking the high road. Love is messy. It is. And people who want to be mean and powerful will clamp down and use rigid silence to maintain their system. It's a weapon. So as we're looking at what does it mean to be that alpha that we're talking about, It means to be adored and the center of everyone's attention. The only one that gets that, the only one that deserves that, is God. So I wanted to go to spiritual. People believe that if you are spiritual, you are unconditionally loving. And they believe that really means you have to put up with them. So if you don't put up with them, then you're not spiritual. So we did a forcotomy, and I'd like to change it slightly. It's patient, accepting, letting be, allowing, loving unconditionally. Those are all qualities that we look at and would hopefully say, and we say, that's spiritual. The opposite is judgmental, arrogant, and dismissive. But the negative of patient, accepting, loving unconditionally is condoning, putting up with. And the positive of judgmental, arrogant, and dismissive is refusing to suffer needlessly. Seeing the truth. So when I refuse to suffer needlessly by some ridiculous insult, I am seen as judgmental, arrogant, and dismissive. I can own that. I have no problem with that. I'm okay with that. Good on me.
Can I just say? This kind of plays into the ubercotomy, because what the expectation is that you would actually go into self-pity.
Yeah, oh, totally. So these are all a series. Yes. Yes.
For what you just said is you're not playing by the rules. The rule is you're supposed to go into self-pity.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And when we condone and put up with ourselves, we believe we are valuing and loving ourselves, which is what Ian just said. We are only putting up with what we shouldn't. We require others to do the same in relation with us. So spirituality, according to so many people, is just condoning horrible behavior. Don't do it. Run from spirituality. Run, run. So now we get to the experience of love. When people in here, in there, experience love, they will, because that's the reality, experience love as a loss of personal power. So they will have to then reassert their sense of self. They have to come back fighting. Truth is, they don't. They could just love. But that would mean they'd have to be vigilant. They'd have to know their system. They'd have to have consciousness and awareness. They'd have to have self-reflectiveness. And they would have to see themselves positively as holding themselves accountable. But they value themselves, so they say. So they're going to reassert themselves from having their personal power taken away and go back to hate. And they show me. They show me. So then the system needs to sneak around me and away from me. Or they step up to the plate and project onto me some fascinating belief that they cannot go and then say, wow, look at what I'm doing. This is not sadhana. This is not what I said I would do. This is just keeping to my system and reasserting hate. If that's what it is. So why would anyone want to be spiritual based on this belief? No one should. Because I'm sitting in a very unenviable spot. So I came up with a syllogism. To be human is to be an individual. Love destroys individuality. Therefore, if you love, you are not human. I'll say it again. To be human is to be an individual. Love destroys individuality. Therefore, if you love, you are not human. It works according to this way people operate in the world. And this is why people don't see me as human. And if I am not human, They do not need to treat me with respect or care because I am an inanimate object. A thing to be used like any other thing. Again, based on this belief, why would anyone want to be spiritual? And why would anyone want to love? The individual dictates the meaning of all words and situations and avoids love at all costs. So run from spirituality. Now, I was looking at this. Why would people think I'm not human? I have a nose. I have two eyes. I have skin. I don't know. But it is what happens. And so I was looking at one of the things that how do children learn about their behavior? They tend to learn from a reaction by adults. So if they do something good, they tend to get a smile or a yes, they get affirmed. And if they do something bad or insulting or cruel, they can tend to get admonished in some way. When people insult me here, I tend to laugh. I don't cry. I tend to use it to try to get them to see clearly where they are. So I don't show any hurt when I'm insulted. I laugh. Which then would mean that people who only learned from external cues, they don't get that I was hurt. They don't get that they insulted. They don't get that they did anything wrong, whether to me, to my lineage, to anybody else. They think they're okay. They think they're fine. The point is, if you can take it, it is then okay to dish it. You have no moral compass. Or care for others. You require others to tell you, to keep you, to dictate where you need to be. You require electric fences. Therefore, you never take the agency of knowing in your heart of hearts clear, clean behavior. Since I am not human, my memory of my life, my memories of my life are not true. They're not real. They're just made up stories that have no validity. To certain people. So therefore, why would anyone want to be spiritual? They wouldn't. And unless I am sitting here living a very superficial rendition and reaction to the likes of any of you, I'm not human. The belief is, in truth, that love, from that point of view, is not to be acquired. It is not to be sought after. To be human is to be an individual. Love destroys individuality. Therefore, if you love, you are not human. This is why the New Age, the psychology community, all keep telling you that you can remain yourselves. You can remain your individuality. Committed to your individuality. And truly know who you are and love. It's not true. It is not true. You can't. You will still have an individuality, but you will not be identified with it. And that is why I can laugh when I'm insulted. That is why I can sit here and use it as a teaching opportunity rather than love is the only answer. And for anyone who has any question about this, I have told this story a gazillion times, but Gurdjieff had a house in Paris. I think it was in Paris. It was in France. And there was one particular individual who was really followed this view and bothered everybody. And that person knew that nobody liked him. So he ran away. He left. And Gurdjieff went running after him, found him, and paid him to come back because he was such a great opportunity for everybody else to learn. Now, the point was and is that that person didn't want to learn, didn't want to love. Good on him. It's okay. Not going to change what I do. Not going to change what I bring to the table. It's up to each and every one of us to see whether we're willing to love. So the truth is, to remain an individual, you will never solve anything. I'm going to say it again. You will never solve anything. You're not going to solve any conflicts. You're not going to solve anything. You're not going to solve wars. You're going to invite them. You're going to create them. We should love. And when I mean love, I do not mean sentimentality. I do not mean nice behavior. I do not mean based on the superficial ideas of the individual. I mean absolute love. And why? Because I'm going to say it again, all solutions to the world issues are found in love. Even solutions of war are found in love. And at this point, globally, we are fighting for God's life within ourselves.